Alrighty, ready to set off again. A little warmer today at just above, or just right around freezing. And going to be going on a different route today. We're going to go down College Avenue all the way to Winnipeg and then back on 13th. Which will mean nothing to you if you're not from around here, but if you are, let's get this thing where it should be. I think my horizon's a little more level today. I tried to work a little harder on getting the horizon, or getting the phone balance. You have to do it manually and it's a bit tricky. So we'll walk up here. This time we're going to go north on Retallack. We've been going south every time. This will take us past Avenue School. Recently renamed the Crescents, but it'll always be Davin to me. That's where Alice went to elementary school. Our daughter. Watching out for ice again. In fact, I think I'll go on the street for this, because this is our alley, which I've not had any inclination to drive down recently. Till it melts. Here's the school up here, Davin School. Crescent School. So it's always been nice to have this playground right behind the house. Alice used to be able to go to school and then she could literally still be waving goodbye to people who are on the playground from our backyard, because it's just across the alley. It was an easy walk to school too when she started walking on her own. Very convenient. So the Kickstarter, going well. It's over 6,000, 41% of the 15,000 I'm looking for, which is great. Somebody took a Tuckerization today. That's where you get your name used for a character in a story. And it was in my story. So I have no idea what that story is going to be about yet. But at least I know the name of one character. Here's the front of the school. Built the same year as our house, and by the same architect. So that's kind of cool. He did a lot of houses in this neighborhood, and his own house is not far from ours. Portnell was his name. Francis W. Portnell, I believe. One of our four-way stops. Not quite as popular in Regina as in Weyburn, where I grew up. They do exist here. And we're on College, heading toward Albert, which you may recall if you followed along with me before. Did a little bit of writing on the Tangled Stars this morning, my next one from Daw Books. I'm way behind on it, as I've said before, and I lost time this couple of days because Word was giving me fits. Something seemed to have gotten into the file so that it died. Well, it didn't die. I got the spinning beach ball of doom because I'm a Mac user. Every 2 minutes after I try to start writing. And I tried a lot of things to fix that. Fixed. It was doing even weirder things, like turning the quotation marks at the opening of sentences the wrong direction. And then this morning when I looked, I discovered it had decided that my default language was Danish, which it most definitely isn't. So it was putting the little red squiggly lines under everything because they were all misspelled, not being Danish, being English. So I finally saved it as an RTF, hoping to strip all of the word-specific stuff out of it and seems to be working, so I did get a few hundred words written this morning. I'll get to more this afternoon. Just stopping because it sure does seem to want to go off to the right for some reason. And I'm not quite sure why that is. It does perhaps programming. Well, no, that wouldn't work with this because they're not using the built-in app. See, there it goes again, off to the right. I don't actually know how long this walk is. It may be longer than I think. My plan is to go all the way down to Winnipeg, but we'll see. I'm already ready to take off my hat. I'm sure I'll be sweating by the end of this, even though it's right around freezing, but it doesn't take much to work up a sweat. And I still forgot to put a little piece of tape over the microphone. This is Albert Street again, the main drag. Can be a long wait at this light, but hopefully it's about ready to change. Oh, yeah, did it pretty good. I want to go over to the other side though. That's the Hotel Saskatchewan. No, that's the Royal Saskatchewan Museum over there. Already feeling quite warm. It's a left turn signal, that's why we're not getting the light yet. There we go. Probably more traffic noise today because I'll be walking alongside a much busier road. So there's the Royal Saskatchewan Museum, home to Scotty the T-Rex, which is the largest T-Rex, I think it's the largest, found in North America. And I was out there when he was first being dug up. He was found by he was a high school teacher. He just basically saw a bit of a tooth sticking up, you know, late in the afternoon when the shadows were long. And sure enough, it was a T-Rex. Reasonably complete as these things go. That's a Stars helicopter going over us, the flying ambulance. So at the time I was running a science column and doing a lot of other stuff and interviewed some of the people working on it off camera for a documentary. So I got to go out there while it was being dug out in the Frenchman River Valley. East End out there has a museum kind of devoted to dinosaurs, especially Scotty. It's called Scotty because Tim Carrick was one of the kind of the main paleontologists, and the others who were there shared a bottle of scotch after they found him. They have a very nice display in the museum there of Scotty the T-Rex. lot of, that's the park over there. And at some point, as I said, I'll do the walk around the lake, well, more than once, I'm sure. Eventually, I'll run out of places to go that I haven't already gone. But you don't get the same viewers every time. Viewers, possibly viewer, I don't know. This is College Avenue. We're walking down. There's a lot of nice old houses here. Some of them are businesses now. That ambulance that went by, the General Hospital is up this way. I'll probably go by it too. Once I turn around and come back the other way. And this over here is the new credit union building that was just built during the pandemic year. A bit controversial, but it helped save the old college campus, which is just beyond it, and I like it myself. For people who don't want any buildings in the park, which, you know, fair enough, but I think that one was if you can see next to it is here. Regina College, which became the University of Regina, well, University of Saskatchewan Regina campus, and then University of Regina, and I don't remember all the details. What it is now is the Conservatory. Oh, did I fail to put this on? Did I forget to do not disturb? Did I just see something pop up there? I'll just pause for a second. For that brief interruption. That's one of the major performance spaces, but it was quite run down. It had these terrible seats that dated to the 20s, and it's all being renovated now. And it has this joint lobby space there where you can see dark hall on the low building in between the two, which will be nice once it's reopened. I performed in there a lot. My daughter did. It was named after Dark, I think it was a butcher, and that's his house across the street. And when it was built, it was the performing space, and hosted the Regina Symphony Orchestra concerts and all of that sort of thing. And then this over here is the Conservatory Building now. It's been completely redone. Inside and out, renovated and spruced up, and wonderful spaces in there, some of which we sponsored, which is nice. Especially Margaret Ann's mom, who was very involved with, as a patron of the arts, and her grandmother, who was a performer and performed in Dark Hall, and one of the early members of the Regina Musical Club. So there's a long multi-generational connection to the conservatory and to music here in our family. So Alice has performed shows in Dark Hall. I and Margaret Ann have both been in shows. Margaret Ann's mom performed when she was a piano student, and her grandmother performed as a singer. I actually even performed there when I was in Weyburn, because it used to be called the Dominion Drama Festival. The Provincial Drama Festival was held there, and we had a play entered, Duet for Two Hands. I played a drunken Scottish surgeon. The play was written by Walter Mills, Haley Mills's father. It was funny because we had one member of the cast, Linda Walls, who actually was Scottish, so she had a bit of an accent. None of the rest of us bothered putting them on. And the adjudicator said, well, either everyone should do the accent or nobody should. Well, I had to explain she wasn't actually doing the accent. Now this one over here, building coming up, is now the soundstage, Canada Saskatchewan soundstage. Not that we have much of a film industry here since the government cut film subsidies a few years ago. And it used to be the Regina Normal School where teachers were trained. And then it was an education building. Or the education building for the university. And now they kept the outside, but the inside has nothing left of the original. It's offices and then the soundstage. CBC Saskatchewan building is in behind that, and they connect. So it's a great facility for. Take a better look at it there. Also, Sask Books, the Association of Saskatchewan-based publishers, is in there. And of course, Shadowpaw Press, my press, is a member of that. And it was actually at the annual meeting of Sask Books in 2018 that I got the idea to do a Kickstarter, because there was a publisher from Winnipeg came in and talked about her successful kickstarting of an anthology, and I thought, hey, I know some authors. And so here we are in my second Kickstarter going on right now. There we go. Still keeps, for some reason, it always seems to gradually drift off to the left. I don't know if it's the way I'm holding it or what. I'm trying to keep the sidewalk in the middle, and it doesn't want to stay there. Sort of see the CBC building is over there behind it. Used to walk there every week when I did my weekly science column for CBC Saskatchewan, which went on for, well, I think I did the science column for 17 years and did a couple of other things after that. So I used to go there all the time. Back when Colin Brewer was host of the afternoon edition. There's a number of, those are all new buildings except for the one with the peaked roof, but they did a good job of matching. That used to be a community garden when I first moved here, and none of those buildings in the back there were here. The ones along College Avenue were here. Oh, I should probably press the button. It's kind of like that old apartment building on that corner over there. And there we go. For a condo. Lots more old buildings along here as we go, and then Balfour Collegiate, which is another old building. Bit of ice here. I didn't fall yesterday. I don't want to start falling today, but I am getting warm. I'm only wearing my leather jacket today. Yesterday was my parka. That was too much. So these buildings are quite old. Anglican diocese, I believe. They've been turned into condos. I don't know about this one. It might still be. I think it's just an office building now. St. Chad's this was. It was some sort of school. This is all in my book, Historic Walk to Regina and Moose Jaw, but I haven't read my book in a long time, so if I ever do the walks live on here, which I might, I will have more details. Maybe I need to get my daughter to come with me. She can shoot and I can talk. Probably have to pay her though to make it worth her while. She has a job now in addition to being a student. So. You can see what used to be St. Chad's Gymnasium, actually, I think. It's all condos and things now. It still says St. Chad's on it. Who St. Chad was. It seems a very oddly informal name, like St. Bob. St. Jim. Go to St. James so often I will call it St. Jim. That's Liza Doolittle sings in My Fair Lady. Not a show I've ever been in. I played the piano for high school production, which was scary because I'm not that much of a piano player, but I got through it. I remember my hands shaking when I sat down to play the overture. I was, early 20s, working in Weaving. So there's a brand new one in there. It's kind of taken up a chunk of what used to be open land. And then another of the old ones here. I think this is still the, this is still a church affiliated building. Diocese of Capel. French word meaning who calls. There it is. Capel House. And of course, the Capel Valley is one of our non-flat geographic features here in southern Saskatchewan. Carved by glacial runoff. Quite a lovely valley. Don't think I'll be walking there. A little too far to walk. Could go out there and walk sometime, I guess. There's so many possibilities now I've started doing this. I just need a catchy name. Wascana Walker, Regina Roundabouter, Saskatchewan Stroller, Prairie Perambulator. Flatland Feet. No, I have flat feet. That's too close to home. This is, what are they doing? To Balfour over here. This is Balfour Collegiate, which in my book, the Song of the Sword, book 1 in my Shards of Excalibur young adult fantasy series, this is the high school, but I call it Wascana Collegiate because I took some liberties with it. For example, I had to have an indoor swimming pool because my character who inherits the power of the Lady of the Lake has the power to travel through water. Dematerialize, rematerialize. And so having a swimming pool was kind of a necessity for her to get in and out of the school. She can disappear, she can travel just by sticking her hand in the water and getting kind of sucked into it, but in order to rematerialize, there has to be enough water for her to displace. So she pops up in a lot of swimming pools and fountains and things like that, lakes. You should read these books. Shards of Excalibur by Edward Willett. Available in new ebook editions from Shadowpaw Press, shadowpawpress.com. Also on any other site that sells ebooks. Or the print edition, which was published by Coteau Books, is still available through Shadowpod Press as well. At some point I will create new Shadowpod Press print editions, but I haven't done that yet because I have a lot of stock from when Coteau Books went out of business, and I bought it cheap, thinking I would sell it from my table at SaskExpo and those sorts of convention things. And then, of course, there has not been an in-person convention now for a year. Maybe in the next few months they'll come back. They usually do pretty good. I usually sell over $1,000 worth of books at one of those things just here. Might do better in Calgary, but then I've got extra expenses if I went to a bigger one. They're more about visibility than making money, really. Even going to Saskatoon, the expenses of staying in Saskatoon for 2 nights eats up a lot of the profit when you figure in the cost of the table and everything. But lots of people have bought my books there, and they know who I am now, and maybe they'll buy more books in the future. Kind of why I'm doing this. Not really. I'm doing it because I need to walk, and I might as well talk while I walk, even though it makes me a little more out of breath than I should be walking. Just that extra bit of breathing. This is Miller Collegiate and Miller High School. It's the separate school next to the public one, which was Balfour. And our daughter went to daycare in here, her first daycare. That was some time ago, since she's now a university student. All right, here I'm across. Did I get the name wrong? Is it Martin and not Miller? I started to say Martin. No, it's Miller. I think Martin was a school that doesn't exist anymore. I've also been in here, I think, my daughter was doing improv. I think they used this auditorium once. Maybe I'm mixing it up with somewhere else. She's unlikely to watch this and correct me, so. Okay, we'll go now down Winnipeg a couple of blocks to 13th, and then walk back as far as we've come on 13th. And I'll end at the 13th Avenue Safeway because I have to go in and buy frozen strawberries for a cocktail. There's this great program, the Frick Collection, which is a major art museum in New York, has a program called Cocktails with the Curator. And we've taken to watching that, and there's a new cocktail recipe every time. And this week it's called a frosé. It's supposed to be kind of a rosé and frozen strawberry slushy. I don't think we're freezing the rosé, but we're going to get the slushy. I am working up a sweat. The house over there with an unusual color scheme. Pink chimney. And there we go. Ice on this sidewalk, so I'll have to be careful. In some ways it's worse when it starts to melt, because then you have water on the ice, which makes it even more slippery. In fact, I think I'll get on the outside of the tree here. I know how this looks. It always looks like that guy's going to run into that tree, but it's an optical illusion. Okay, here's a bit more open concrete. So we're on Winnipeg Street now. I don't know if Winnipeg has a Regina Street, but we have a Winnipeg Street. All the streets sort of from here back towards Broad, certainly, and I don't know about the other side here. Probably those two. They're all, a lot of them are named after other Canadian cities, so there's a St. John and Halifax, that sort of thing. Don't know if those other cities have returned the favor. Okay, back on the concrete. Nice. Again, an area with lots of mature trees, elm trees. Lots of elms still in Regina. Dutch elm has not killed them. A few trees have had Dutch elm, but it hasn't spread. A lot of rules about bringing elm wood into the city and for firewood and all that kind of stuff. Not supposed to. Certainly it is in the province. I know down back where I lived before, around Weyburn, all around Rafferty Dam, that valley. I think we lost a lot of elms out there. Okay, this is 15th. We're going 2 more blocks to 13th. Where are we? I might run into the hospital and have to zig a bit, but that's okay. It'll be scenic. I'm all about the scenic here. Oops. Trying to keep it centered, and it doesn't want to stay. Always wants to go over there, and I don't want it to go over there. I want it to go here. Must be something I'm doing. More ice here. I'll switch to the other side by the trees again. So anyway, we highly recommend cocktails with the curator. I think it's Frick. I don't know if it's frick.com or frickcollection.com, but if you look up Frick, you'll find the frickin' address very easily. We really want to visit there. When we were in New York last, a couple of years ago, we went to the Met, and the Frick is in that same area, but we didn't know about it. And now we do. So whenever we can go back to New York, which, you know, hopefully won't be 20 years from now, because I don't think I'll be walking around by then. Hopefully we can go to the Frick. Maybe I just can't remember. 13th probably doesn't go through, or does it? Let me think. No, it doesn't. In fact, 14th may not be. Let me take a look. Where's that hospital? Yeah, the hospital's right smack dab in the way at this point. So whichever way I go, I have to change. I don't want to go all the way to Victoria. Well, maybe 13th. Maybe I can walk through on 13th. I don't know. It's an adventure. Not an area I normally. This is a seniors home over here, and I actually directed a play there once. In there, I guess in that auditorium space there, probably. It was interesting. It was an age group of people in the show who, you know, weren't very good at memorizing lines anymore. And there wasn't going to be any high energy choreography, but I still enjoyed it. And so did they. And that was the main thing. Senior Citizen Center. Yes, that's it. Not a senior's home, although I think that is it. But senior activities center. I don't know why it's so hard to keep it right where I want it. It just moves around more than I think it should. I mean, I know I control it with my hand too. I keep trying to zoom it around with the joystick or the joy button. It's not a stick. Okay, well, we'll go down here, but I'll have to zig again, I think. Sidewalk is barely touched. And then we'll try the other side. Doesn't look much better. Just have to be careful. All of the dogs. St. Mary's Church. Never been in that one, if I can remember. Catholic. More ice. Yeah, I don't think the road goes through, but I might be able to walk through up here. Again, no need to worry, I am not exceeding the 30-kilometer-an-hour school zone speed limit. Oh, this is really bad. Maybe along the fence it's a little better. If it tilts down, it's because I'm looking at my feet. Okay, let's go over on this side of it instead. Looks like it improves up there a ways. Okay, there's some bare concrete at last. Yeah, we can walk through this. You just can't drive through it. Or at least you're not supposed to. See, the road there is pretty thoroughly not a road anymore. And all these fairly recent apartment buildings. School over there. That's where the school zone came from. I actually know the name of that one. Might have been in it back in the early 90s. I did 3 years in the winter. I did opera tour with the Prairie Opera out of Saskatoon. School tour, 2 shows a day. Not always in the same town. So a lot of driving in January in Saskatchewan. And I saw a lot of school gymnasiums. We would go in and work with the kids for an hour to integrate them into the show because they were designed that way. And then we did the performance, about 45 or 50 minutes. And I got paid, so that was cool. Even if the van we drove in was one I always used to joke was heated by venting the exhaust gases directly into the passenger compartment. Ate a lot of food that was purchased in out of gas station coolers, much to the horror of the soprano that was on the first tour, whose husband was a food critic and really was more of a gourmet foodie, which I am too now, more than then, but I also can survive quite well on ordinary fare. We'd always go to at least one good restaurant, usually in Saskatoon, because we'd often be in Saskatoon for 2 or 3 nights. We did the schools up there because that's where Prairie Opera was based from. It's long gone now, the organization. But I did 3 years and a few other one-off shows with them. Now we are headed back the way we came, due west. This is Regina General Hospital over here. That's, I think, causing me the problem of not being able to go straight. We're on the parking lot side, hence the fence. And this is the kind of the neighborhood, old houses, still lots of mature trees. Oh, we can get a better look at the hospital, the driveway here. This is the main entrance side that you go in if you have any reason to be there. If I go to the emergency room, that's the one they'll probably take me to. Taking it back to Broad, and then from Broad to Albert, and then from Albert down 13th to Safeway, and that's where I will end this particular broadcast, because I'm pretty sure they don't want me live streaming from the inside of Safeway. I don't know what people think when they see me doing this. So far no one has asked. Rather old building over there. I think it's currently a medical building. It was a radio station, and before that it was a Hebrew school when there were more Jewish people here than there are now. Ooh, this one's really just pure ice, so I will be very slow here for a moment. This. Oh, that's probably the worst one I've run into. Worst patch of ice. All right. This used to be Slate Gallery over here. We came to quite a bit, but they're now more up 13th. Still on 13th and closer to our house. Nice gallery. Lots of Faffards. If you know who Faffard is, known for his bronze cows and horses and things like that. He died a year or so ago. Whoa. I don't wish to join him by slipping on the ice. So. I have no idea how long I've been walking yet. I'll find out when I get home. Not a lot of cleared sidewalks around here. The other side's probably better, but I'll want to be on this side when I get down to Albert, so I'll stay here. It goes drifting again, running up into the sky. broad street up here we're coming up to. It's not particularly broader than any other street. That's what it's called. It's not broader than any of the other broad streets. Won't make the light. So I will stand here and watch the traffic go by for a few minutes. Going down Broad. I turned this way to keep my back to the wind. But that's looking downtown. This part of downtown, not quite the part of downtown. Big rectangle today is what he's done. See the neighborhood there. And again, it's decided the sky is really interesting. I don't think so. So down again. It must be the way I turn my wrist as I walk. Look at that. Up it goes, and I want it down. And I want it over to the left, so it's more in the middle. Like that. Turn my wrist to keep it. That works too. I must be moving my wrist into different positions more than I think I am. I get home, I'm mentoring somebody through the Saskatchewan Writers Guild. And I have their next chapter to look at. That's a 5-month program, I guess, this time, January through May. And writing a middle grade fantasy novel that I'm working through with her. There's downtown. Back of the Saskatchewan Building there, the curvy one. It's currently being worked on. And I've got some other work I'm doing, sort of nonfiction things. Got a few of those done this weekend. And also this weekend is my podcast weekend. So there'll be a new podcast on theworldshapers.com. And this week I talked to Walter John Williams. So that'll go live Sunday afternoon. Probably will not do any walking, certainly not tomorrow. Might on Sunday, but won't be on here tomorrow. It's a two-way stop, so. It's a health building here of some sort. I don't remember what it's called. And the one up here is an older building that they put a new glass top on. Kept part of the old facade and then took it up a ways. And over there is the Hotel Saskatchewan, and then the Saskatchewan Building again. And what's the name of that church? Been in there. recorded in there. When I sang with the University of Regina Chamber Singers, we recorded a couple of CDs in there. At the moment, I can't think of the name of it. Getting old, I guess. What is that one? Huh. Now we're crossing Scar Street. The condo that we own is down to our left, and then downtown is there. Might walk down there sometime. I'm a little more leery of walking and shooting video down there. I don't know if somebody might take objection. I certainly wouldn't go in the mall and do it, but even on the street. Of course, my inspiration here, the walking commuter, does it in Manhattan, and I've never seen anybody say, "What are you doing? What are you talking about?" Maybe people just avoid people who walk around and talk to themselves, which this looks like I'm doing, although in this day of Bluetooth headphones and Bluetooth headsets for telephone communication, I'm hardly the only person walking around apparently talking to himself. I probably am more likely talking to myself simply because nobody is currently watching this, but you might watch it later. It's not going anywhere. Once I've done them, they live online. Decided to hit them on YouTube. By the way, I did a shortened URL for my YouTube channel. You can now find it at tinyurl.com/Edward Willett YouTube. 2 T's on Willett. WILLETT. There's also a tiny URL for the Shapers of Worlds Kickstarter, which I think I've mentioned before, but it's tinyurl.com. Shapers of Worlds 2 being the Arabic numeral 2, even though on the cover it will be the Roman numeral 2 in a URL. This walk will take us by the now closed 13th Avenue YMCA, which until last year, when this all started, I had been going regularly for a couple of years, doing weight training with a personal trainer, and that all went by the by. And during the winter, I've hardly done anything, so I am thinking, even in the walk, that I can tell I'm certainly a little more out of shape than I was last spring when I was actually jogging 4K. Oh, more ice. Another bad section here, you probably see. It's supposed to be well above freezing this weekend, so hopefully this will. Oh, now it's decided for some reason that I really want it to go that way, and I don't. I don't understand, because the handle is a dumb handle. It does have its own app with all kinds of bells and whistles for just videoing things, but that's not a live streaming app, so I don't know if there's some way to connect that to Prism for live streaming. There might be, but this is only like my 3rd day of using this thing, so I haven't done a lot of also, they put all of their instructions as YouTube videos. I hate, except for rare occasions, I hate getting instructions through YouTube. Give me some text. I'm a text guy. It all just seems like wasted time, and you have to stop it instead of being able to refer back to it easily. Nope, I'm definitely more about the text. That's the old YMCA that's now closed. Very sad. That was also one of Alice's daycares. She went there right up until she started kindergarten, and then switched to the daycare that's in the school. Dragon's Den it was called, because it was the Davin Dragons. I don't know if they changed that too, so it alliterates with the Crescents. Pheasants, cuckoos, cockatrices. It's going to be a mythical character. I have to be cockatrices, which would puzzle people no end because 9 people out of 10 probably don't know what a cockatrice is. I kind of know, but don't ask me to describe it. Some sort of reptilian chicken thing, I think. The credit union central there, in case you're wondering, which you probably weren't. This is the McIntyre. Across the street over there, Retallack, which you'll see more as we get closer. Someplace we rely on a lot for when we want a quick takeout. Very good food, been there forever. They were sit down, then they went take out, then they decided to go back to sit down, and now of course, like everybody else, they're mostly takeout. I think they're entirely takeout at the moment. And I just wonder if they'll go back to the sit down dining at all. They've decided that maybe takeout is the way to go since they seem to try to go that. So this is fire hall number 1, the main fire hall here, fire station. Always have a tower for hanging hoses in, I believe. I don't know if they really do that anymore or not. I think that's why they tend to have towers. I suppose at one time people were up there watching for smoke in the days before mass communication. Just to guess that. I've never researched it. Okay, it's going to be noisy on this intersection. I have to wait to cross. This is Albert and 13th. There's the time. Next to it, Cathedral Social Hall. Great selection of beer. But not as good as Bushwhackers, which makes its own. That's down on Dudney, which I might walk to sometime. Watch the traffic go by. Alright, not much further before I call it quits. 2 more blocks up here will be the 13th Avenue Safeway. This, what looks like a church to the side here, was a church. But it's been turned into a little performance space called the Artesian. Has lots of great events, when events are possible. Performed in there several times, and when I was on the board of Golden Apple Theatre, an unfortunately short-lived professional theater company here, this was kind of our main performance space. Here I am trying not to fall down again. I don't know if the snow up here is safer than the ice, because it slopes. You can go up here, walk by the Artesian. Their sidewalk looks more clear. That's the front of the Artesian. Look around there. Main doors. Okay, this is 13th Avenue. Lots of little shops of various sorts. Paper umbrella over there is a nice paper product sort of place. Tea shop next to it. New Age store next to that. Right across from the Christian bookstore on this side. So, you know, pick your spirituality. And then the snow again to avoid the ice. Not sure it's any better because it's rough. Well, it seemed like a good idea at the time. Probably wasn't. I just got snow on my feet, but at least I didn't fall down. Quite. Okay. These walks will be much less fraught once the snow melts. I'll be doing a U-turn for some reason. I thought he was going to run into me. A rather funkily decorated little restaurant food space. And the new building going up over there is going to be our new neighborhood liquor store. So looking forward to that. There. We shop here at Safeway. We buy meat at the meat store across the street from Safeway. There's a place called the Takeaway Gourmet. Yes, someone called the Galloping Gourmet, but that's an old cooking show over there that we go to quite a bit. So this is our neighborhood shopping area. And we will end this as I get to Safeway over here, so I can go in and buy strawberries for cocktails with the curator at the Frick. Hey, there's our Safeway, and that's where I will end this.